a government in shutdown, Russian drones losing their signal, and U.S. aircraft carriers moving toward Iran. Is 2026 the year the world changes forever? Welcome to Franco Reports. Today, we're breaking down the immigration war in D.C. and the technological Iron Curtain falling over Ukraine. Subscribe now, hit that like button, and drop a comment. Stay tuned, because at the end of this video, I'm giving you a full technical analysis of why the Republican strategy might be the only thing holding the line.
United States House Speaker Mike Johnson said on Sunday that a government funding package will face a vote in a few days. This confirms the partial federal shutdown, which started on Saturday, will continue into the week. The shutdown stems from disputes over the Trump administration's immigration enforcement policies. Democrats demand agents unmask, show warrants, and end roving patrols. Unlike last year's 43-day record closure, this partial shutdown does not include the whole government and is not expected to last long.
You can't block the street.
The Senate-approved measure temporarily defunds the Department of Homeland Security for 2 weeks. This sets a deadline to debate new restrictions on immigration and customs enforcement operations. A House floor vote may not happen until Tuesday at the earliest. Defense, health and transportation agencies also face funding uncertainty.
Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or as most people know it, ICE. The acronym is now recognizable around the world. United States immigration enforcement is at the center of national and international controversy. In January, 2 U.S. citizens were killed by federal immigration officials, one by an ICE agent and another by a Border Patrol official. Aside from its operations on U.S. soil, ICE also has a presence outside the country through its branch HSI, the Homeland Security Investigations. Its agents will be present at the Milan-Cortina Olympic Games. HSI has 90 offices, mostly located within embassies in 50 countries.
HSI est une autre branche de ICE, de cette police qui, elle, est donc déployée à l'étranger, au départ pour lutter contre le narcotrafic, contre tout projet terroriste qui pourrait menacer la sécurité intérieure des États-Unis ou de ses alliés ou tout ressortissant américain. Depuis quelques années, HSI est devenue aussi une police de lutte contre l'immigration clandestine.
HSI collaborates with local police and Interpol. Its agents are armed, sometimes heavily, but they are only allowed to use their weapons after having received a mandate from the host country, the researcher adds, while also acknowledging that though the rule exists in principle, reality can lead to a different application in specific cases.
N'oublions quand même jamais que dans certains pays au gouvernement plus faible, à l'économie plus faible, très dépendant des États-Unis, des pays parfois injustement catalogués, pour reprendre la rhétorique trumpienne, bien évidemment, de pays de merde, cette police s'est permise de dépasser évidemment les règles normalement imposées et d'agir comme bon lui semblait.
ICE agents via HSI branches have already been deployed during international events such as the 2024 Olympic Games in Paris, says Scura. Agents will not be patrolling the streets of Milan during the Winter Olympics, which start this Friday, and their role will be strictly advisory, Washington's ambassador to Italy said last week. Their presence has triggered several protests in Rome and Milan.
Thank you so much for speaking to us.
Polish Secretary of State Ignacy Niemczycki told Euronews on Monday that Russia is intent on prolonging peace discussions and extending its war in Ukraine. Speaking on Euronews' daily morning show Europe Today, Niemczycki pointed to Russia's ongoing strikes on civilian energy infrastructure in Kyiv as proof that it wants to do so. He also added that he hopes the United States can, quote, help convince Russia to be more creative in trilateral peace talks that will resume in Abu Dhabi this Wednesday.
Russia is not negotiating with a goodwill. right now. So what we see is that they're trying to prolong the discussion, whereas we strongly believe that Ukraine made a significant effort to find a solution, to find an end to this war. So the question right now is whether Russia wants to end the war or not. Our understanding of the situation is that, unfortunately, they want to continue it.
Nimchitsky also spoke on recent developments in Iran. On Sunday, Tehran designated armies of European countries as terrorist groups. It did so in response to the EU's decision to include the Iranian Revolutionary Guard on its list of terrorist organizations. However, Nimchitsky said Iran's response is largely a symbolic one, as it does not carry any practical implications.
SpaceX has begun blocking Russia from using Starlink to control attack drones over Ukraine. Ukraine's Defense Minister Mikhailo Fedorov praised the first steps as delivering real results, saying no Ukrainians have died from Starlink-equipped Russian drones in recent days. Fedorov contacted SpaceX after evidence emerged of Russian forces mounting Starlink terminals on attack drones to strike deeper into Ukraine. These drones can fly low, resist electronic warfare, and operate over long distances. Elon Musk confirmed on social media that efforts to stop unauthorized Russian use are working. Ukraine will now verify all Starlink terminals with a government whitelist. Only registered devices will remain active in cooperation with SpaceX. The measure aims to secure communications and deny Russia a technological edge. Starlink has been crucial for Ukraine since 2022, with over 50,000 terminals supplied.
Tehran said it had summoned all the European Union ambassadors in the country to protest against the bloc's decision to classify Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps as a terror group. Meanwhile, the EU says it still expects diplomatic channels to remain open despite listing the IRGC as a terrorist organization on Monday. The EU's designation came after Iran's violent repression of nationwide protests, which killed thousands. After this, in more of a symbolic gesture, Iran also classed EU armies as terrorist groups, a listing the EU has rejected, as well as all terrorist accusations. Meanwhile, Iran has ordered the start of negotiations with the US on the nuclear issue on Monday. The move comes as Iran faces the threat of US military action, as it has moved its USS Abraham Lincoln carrier and several guided missile destroyers towards Tehran. But Iran warns that any US military action would lead to a wider conflict in the region.
I'm on the floor at Web Summit Qatar in Doha. Everywhere you look, people are networking, pitching, and building the next big thing in tech.
It is absolutely amazing. So we were thrilled to be invited because it's the very first event for me.
427 speakers are tackling the hottest topics in tech: AI, chip wars, geopolitics, quantum breakthroughs, and the creator economy, with over 800 international journalists on the floor covering it all.
We are very happy to have a strong German representation at this third edition of the Web Summit. First of all, congratulations to the Qatari partners for organizing such a terrific global event in this not always easy times.
As everybody can see here, Doha today is a place to be, because all these people, all these experts in different fields are here and come together and open a new chapter of cooperation.
Just 2 years ago, only 20 German companies were represented. Today, the pavilion is packed, and it's not just about being seen, it's partnership, market entry, and long-term collaboration. Mohamed Alashi, Your News, Doha.
The EU has delayed the full rollout of its new entry-exit system until September. The biometric border controls launched in October 2025 have caused long delays at airports and ports. Visa-exempt travelers from the UK, the US and other non-EU countries must register their biometrics at kiosks. Processing times have risen by up to 70%, with queues reaching 3 hours during peaks. Lisbon Airport suspended the EES for 3 months after waits hit 7 hours in December. The Commission cited concerns over summer travel chaos as the reason for the delay. Member states now have more flexibility to manage the transition at their borders. Some airports may still stamp passports manually in the coming months. Travel groups warned the rollout risked severe congestion and safety hazards without adjustments.
Let's talk straight about this US shutdown. From a Republican perspective, what we are seeing is a fundamental battle for sovereignty. Speaker Mike Johnson isn't just playing politics, he's responding to a base that sees ICE and Border Patrol as the last line of defense against an unchecked border. The Democrat demands to unmask agents and end roving patrols are viewed by many on the right as an attempt to depolicing by bureaucracy. If the government has to pause to ensure that enforcement remains effective, that's a price many are willing to pay. And look at the Starlink situation. For years, the narrative was that Elon Musk was a wild card. But the reality is that SpaceX is now a critical arm of Western defense strategy. By blocking Russia from using these terminals for attack drones, Musk is effectively enforcing a private sector no-fly zone. This is the new Cold War where tech companies have more tactical impact than some NATO members. Now regarding Iran, the Biden-Harris or subsequent administration's dance with Tehran has led us here. The EU finally calling the IRGC a terrorist group is years late. Moving the USS Abraham Lincoln is a classic show of force, but the Republican critique remains. Peace through strength only works if you're willing to use the strength. Iran's symbolic designation of EU armies as terrorists shows they aren't scared, they're emboldened. The EU's border delay, it's a failure of centralized planning. They want total biometric control but can't handle the hardware at the ports. It's the same story everywhere, over-regulation meeting reality. If you enjoyed this technical breakdown, subscribe to Franco Reports, leave a like, and tell me in the comments if you think the US is doing enough to support its agents at the border. Now, I have a question for you. Answer only if you truly dare. Is Elon Musk's ability to turn off satellite access for a national military a necessary defense or a dangerous precedent for private power?